Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about the Bayonetta voice actor controversy slash drama slash squabble, whatever you really want to call this. It's a pretty interesting situation. I'm a person, I've never really been into Bayonetta, I've never really played it, so I don't have like a lot of franchise knowledge or anything about this, but from an outside perspective looking in, it's definitely an interesting situation because it kind of calls up like a pretty, big controversy, and in the gaming industry like this, there's a lot of complaints and like a lot of talk about how people who work on video games in a lot of different capacities are, sometimes overlooked. Maybe they're underpaid. Maybe there's a lot more expected of them than the paycheck really kind of dictates. And, there's crunch and all kinds of stuff in the gaming industry. I could sit here for hours on end and talk about this topic, but today we're going to focus in specifically on this Bayonetta controversy because if you didn't hear anything about this, basically, Helena Taylor, who is a voice actor in the Bayonetta franchise, basically came out to social media and the world to claim that to play the lead, she was only offered like $4,000 or something like that, which obviously is a pathetically low paycheck for something like this. I mean, Bayonetta is a pretty big franchise, right? Like, it's definitely no indie game or anything like that. This is a game that makes a lot of money, so in order to like play a pretty significant role in the voice acting, only getting paid $4,000 for it would have definitely been pretty embarrassing to the company's reputation that makes Bayonetta, kind of making them look like cheapskates and whatnot. But the drama and the plot around this actually ended up thickening because now there's new evidence and like new claims that kind of counter what Helena Taylor said. So Helena Taylor came out a few days ago on Twitter with like 5 minutes worth of videos talking about this subject, basically exposing this situation to the world. I would play the clips, but like I said, it's like 5.5 minutes worth of video content. And to be honest, I feel like I can summarize everything a lot quicker than that. She basically called for a boycott and everything in that time period too, and it created a pretty massive controversy, but we're basically going to read into a new report that was just published today. This is coming from IGN. New evidence has emerged that Bayonetta voice actor Helena Taylor was offered at least $15,000 to reprise her role in the forthcoming sequel, contrary to her claims that she was only offered $4,000 to play the lead. A new report by Bloomberg, which has since been corroborated by VGC, cites documentation as well as two people familiar with the negotiations who say that Platinum attempted to hire Taylor for 5 sessions lasting 4 hours apiece, each of which would have been between $3,000 and $4,000. According to VGC, this would have been a, quote, significant increase on Taylor's fee from the second game. According to the report, Taylor rejected these terms, asking for a 6-figure sum and residuals instead. After, quote, lengthy negotiations, Platinum subsequently hired Jennifer Hale to take on the role of Bayonetta. Taylor reportedly declined a subsequent offer of a cameo for the fee of 1 session. Taylor called the report an absolute lie in statements to both Bloomberg and VGC, claiming that Platinum was, quote, trying to save their ass and the game. She also said she stands beside everything in the video. Quote, I would like to put this whole bloody franchise behind me, quite frankly, get on with my life in the theater, she wrote. Alright, so there's basically 2 different ways I see this, right? And it really kind of depends on who's telling the truth. So let's kind of break down the evidence in this, right? So the claims that she made were pretty well unfounded from what I've seen. Like, she didn't show paperwork or anything like that. So really the only evidence we have on her side is basically her word. Like, we have to take her word at face value if we're going to believe her and basically take what she said seriously. But on the other hand, we have Bloomberg, which it's now been corroborated by VGC, 2 pretty credible sources in the gaming industry, I would say. They cited documentation and 2 people who were familiar with the negotiations. So on one hand, we have someone's word. On the other hand, we have 2 reports by 2 major industry sources that are citing paperwork and documentation, and also 2 people with knowledge of the situation. So the evidence is definitely leaning a lot more in favor of Bayonetta and the company due to these reports. You know what I mean? So that definitely kind of skews things a little bit, in my opinion. She claims that this evidence is basically the company trying to save their own ass, trying to protect themselves from the criticism and from the backlash of only offering the lead voice actor $4,000 to basically take on this role and everything, right? But let's go ahead and assume that this company's lying for the sake of argument. You know, they made this up, these reports aren't true, and at the end of the day, she really did only get offered like $4,000 to play the lead here. That is honestly an insulting offer. She goes on in one of the videos to claim that like the last game made like $50 million. To only pay your lead voice actor $4,000 to play the lead character or whatever in this game would be borderline like criminal, you know what I mean? Like that would just be fucking ridiculous. But the problem is we really don't know for certain who's telling the truth, you know what I mean? So it's just one way or the other that you have to take it. So my opinion on this whole thing switches based on who's telling the truth. Like I said, if she's telling the truth, that's a ridiculous offer. The company should be ashamed, and they should be ashamed for faking, you know, all of this evidence to try and clear their name and whatnot too, right? That's if she's telling the truth. Now, if the company's telling the truth, which the evidence is more or less suggesting that they are, simply because, you know, there's more evidence on their side, then honestly, shame on her. Like, it really depends for me, but shame on her if she did lie, because, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you here, like, they're saying the pay rate at this whole thing, like, if the company is telling the truth here, is 5 sessions of voice acting, 4 hours apiece, for a total of 20 hours, right? Each of those 5 sessions would have been between $3,000 and $4,000. So let's just say on the high end, she gets $4,000 per session. That's $20,000 for voice acting in a video game. If it were me, you know, and they offered me $20,000 for basically 20 hours of my time to record voice acting, you bet your sweet ass I'm taking that offer, man. You bet I'm taking that. That's $1,000 an hour she would have been getting paid, according to the reports. $1,000 an hour. Like, who could turn that down, right? Like, the average person, you know, makes like, what, $15 an hour or something like that, and you're making $1,000 an hour? Like, that's crazy to me. But that's, of course, if they're telling the truth. There's no confirmed facts of the situation here that really indicate for sure that either side's right. It's really kind of a he said, she said kind of thing here. And apparently that would have been a pretty major increase compared to what she got paid for the last game. So it's a pretty interesting kind of drama, man, because, like, you know, it just really draws together a lot of questions about the gaming industry, I feel like. And I think that this is a good time to mention that the value of employees and workers in the video game industry, honestly, in my opinion, is significantly underrated. You know, like, people, I really think, overlook how much effort that a lot of ordinary people sometimes put into these games in order to make them the experiences that they are. These people work their asses off, they go through crunch. I mean, even like this, like, you're recording all of the voice lines in like 20 hours. That's pretty significant in my opinion, you know what I mean? Like, I think that people really underestimate how much effort and value these employees put into these games, you know what I mean? That doesn't, you know, bar them from being criticized or anything, but I've noticed that that's kind of an industry issue that a lot of people have, where they don't really respect these people enough, I feel like. So yeah, these reports, you know, they make sense. Like, a lot of people were definitely on her side in this whole situation. A lot of people probably still are. For me, it's going to really depend. I'd like to see if there's any concrete evidence that comes out in this situation that proves one side right over the other, because my opinion is going to shift regarding that, you know what I mean? As of right now, it's kind of a tit for tat, he said, she said thing. So who really knows at the end of the day? But it's definitely a pretty interesting controversy. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your channel support helps tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about the Bayonetta controversy and signing out.